people of Edo State, on Saturday, all of us will be expected to come out and perform a very, very important duty to elect a governor that will superintend and govern our state over the next 4 years. For me, and I ask you to accept, and for all of us, Saturday the 19th of September is another edition of our Democracy Day. In this state, we have established, at least while I was a governor for 8 years, a tradition of one man, one vote. We spend a lot of time and energy and resources to promote that campaign. Because as you will all recall, before then, election in Edo State was for survival of the fittest. Under my stewardship as your governor, I persuaded all of us, and we all agree, that we can make the vote count without violence. And so, beginning with my election in 2012, for which I am eternally grateful to the people of Edo State, as you will remember, I won in all the 18 local government areas, scoring a total vote of about 74.6% of the total vote cast. Nobody was shot, nobody was hospitalized. We celebrated it. In 2016, we worked hard as well. Again, I was the governor, created an enabling environment to ensure that what matters is the PVC and the ballot papers. And again, we had a peaceful election. Notwithstanding all the speculations and anxiety, I ask you to have faith that this Saturday, the 19th of September, will be another celebration of democracy, which enable the people to show that they and they alone can confer power on anyone they so favored, other the guardians of God, our Creator. So I ask you to resist any temptation, resist any inducement, resist any of those things that will change the narrative of Edo as a democratic state whose citizens are used to voting and ensuring that the vote counts. Nothing has changed. We are still the same people. The same Edo people that voted peacefully in 2012, the same Edo people that voted peacefully in 2016. I believe you are still the same, and you will vote peacefully on Saturday, the 19th of September. What is important in all of this is the process. We must have faith in the process, that it will be transparent, it will be free, and it will be fair. But the precondition for free, fair, and credible election is that no one should be afraid to step out to vote. I expect, and I am convinced, that the security agencies will do everything possible to guarantee and ensure that the right of our people to vote is not undermined by any of the contestants or any of the political parties. The interest of our state is greater than the interest of any particular political party. Governments will come and go. Governors will come and go. The people of Edo State will remain. And therefore, it does not matter what happens. We need to ensure that we conduct ourselves peacefully. I urge you to please do all of us proud, as perhaps the only state in the South-South geopolitical zone in which we have established a tradition of one man, one vote without violence. We want to celebrate the power of the people. We don't want to celebrate the barrel of the gun. We want to celebrate the ballot paper. We don't want to celebrate bullets. We want to celebrate people clapping and dancing because they have voted according to their will. We don't want people to be mourning because they've lost a loved one. That is not part of our tradition. That is not in our culture. As Oba has said, no matter what you think, the office will come and go. I was a governor for 8 years, and I had a credible record of voter support. Today, I am no more a governor. So it shall be with even the one that will be elected on Saturday, which I pray will be a candidate of my own political party. But we want that process to be so transparent that the legitimacy of the outcome will not be questioned. Why do I urge you to vote for Pastor Osagi Izeyamo, the candidate of the APC, and therefore vote for APC in Edo State? For me, it is simple. Around this time, 4 years ago, I did appeal to you, along with other members of my party, to canvass for vote for the current governor on the basis of continuity of certain specific projects and programs, which we believe over time, if sustained, will transform Edo in some fundamental ways. We made huge progress in terms of urban renewal. We made incredible progress in terms of deflooding Edo State, Benin City in particular, with particular reference to the Benin City Water Storm Master Plan. You will not forget in a hurry what we did at Quinede erosion site, Ivo Okenwa Road, and several other locations. How we are able to chase away the Mami water around the teacher's house to enable us construct a standard 6-lane road. And in the process, we established a specific standard for urban roads, namely that the city life should not terminate at 6 p.m. So we constructed roads with sidewalks, with street lights, and traffic lights. This is what we see when we travel around the world. Cities are built by men of incredible dreams and even bigger courage to translate those dreams. We built a 5-star hospital. And as we have seen, even when there was no coronavirus then, we realized that it's not everyone or woman of our countrymen that can afford to fly out of the country. Because even those who have such resources to fly out of the country, when there is emergency, before the arrival of the ambulance, those who are under emergency condition, before evacuation, they could give up. So we cannot overemphasize the need for functional, standard healthcare facilities. That is what informed the design of the Central Hospital and the choice of equipment from a reputable Austrian firm, Vamed, to ensure that state-of-the-art equipment were installed. It hurts me as the steward, under whose stewardship we collected taxes from Edo people to build that hospital. And today, that hospital is only open to those who can afford to pay a consultant $5,000 before they find out what his problems are. And those who cannot afford it, they are asked to go to the hospital that was built in 1903, which we all concluded was no longer habitable, it was no longer suitable as a model hospital. Those of you who live in Benin City, in Ekpoma, in Auchi, and other places where we store street lights, I don't need now to remind you that the street lights are off. Even the generator with which we were powering those street lights, the generators have been taken away by the current government. I can tell you for free that the total cost of powering those street lights at night was on average between 26 and 30 million naira a month. And for me, that was worth it. It was always a thing of joy for me when I walk around Akpakpaba Street, Sakwoba Street, Oba Market Road, Siloko Road, Upper Siloko Road, almost up to Channel 55, on Airport Road, and on Sapele Road at 10 p.m., and I see life, I see beer parlors, I see Mama Put, all selling something by the roadside, even when there is no light in their residences. This was the great promise of continuity, that we will build more such roads. The last road I did before I left was Second Circular Road. We transformed a place that was completely inaccessible to drug carriageway, complete with side drains and sidewalks. Because this is the Edo resources that have to be used for the good of Edo people. There's a writer who argued that only a rich man settle for substandard products because he can afford to be replacing it every day. When you do not have resources, as is the case in Edo, you want to ensure that every 1 kilometer of road you've done is a kilometer of road that will last for between 25 and 30 years with minimum maintenance. All of these have disappeared. The outgoing governor has not, by the special grace of God and your votes, the outgoing governor has not constructed one single road with those key features. The Benin City water storm has been completely abandoned. Our dream to have teachers who have minimum degree of Bachelor of Education by upgrading Kiadolo College of Education to university status, which we renamed Tayo Akpata University, that has been aborted by the current government. And today, since I left office, no new teacher has been employed. The result is that going around the state, and I invite any Edo person who has a child in public school to simply find out how many teachers are in their school. You're not going to be carried away by sponsored advertorials or even international consultant that tells us what does not exist. You are the real people. We call it IMAC. If you haven't seen it, don't believe it. We built a residence for College of Nursery and Midwives. This current governor has closed that school at a time when the whole world, I emphasize the whole world, tried to train, and we need more nurses, even before coronavirus. And a lot of our daughters and sons who are overseas, working in hospitals as nurses, I'm sure they do have some remittance home. Nurses can't be unemployed if they are properly trained. And so to close that school of nursing is a huge setback to our attempt to ensure that we not only have beautiful buildings as hospitals, but they are manned by men and women who are well trained. At the time when our doctors are migrating, it is unacceptable that the Edo State government has not thought it fit to employ more doctors. And the hospital we now have is now being managed by people who are not doctors, called consultants, and they are paid 65 million every month for consultancy for a facility that is not open to the ordinary man. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I was in Nwode during the campaign, and I found that the only road in Nwode was the one I constructed to link Nwode to Uguneki and to Edo Central. The only road constructed in Oriongo was the one I constructed that covered more than 200 communities, terminating, passing through Oronibe, to Rumehi, and other communities. In Igbanke, I was shocked to find that of all the streets in Igbanke, I constructed about 8 streets there. The only portion that was not done was about 2.1 kilometer road, which my successor promised to do at the end of my tenure. To our collective embarrassment as a people, it is now a fact that it's Governor Okowa of Delta State who has to send graders to grade the road, the portion that was not done before I left office, just to make it motorable. But of course, when it rains, graded roads, add little or no value. And that is an area in which we have boundary dispute. So if our people feel that they are getting services from a neighboring state rather than their own state, the implication for that should be obvious to all of us. In the rest of the state, the story is the same. A traditional ruler lamented before us that he has 2.5 teachers in the only secondary school, public secondary school in the village. They do not have the opportunity of a private school alternative. And he said, so parents think that their children are going to school but only to go and while away 8 hours or 6 hours without teachers in the school. Everywhere we go, the story is the same. We visited Ilushi, the people complained they've had no light for 4 years. And the governor admitted that they have had no light for 4 years. But that if he's re-elected, in 3 months he will fix the light. And the question the people put to him, and which can be put to any sensible person is, so if you could fix light for 3 months, how come you didn't fix it in 4 years? I watched Governor Baseki's statement in their closing rally, and that will be my closing point in this intervention. Governor Baseki, at the closing, what they call mega rally at the stadium yesterday, Tuesday, he said, this is Baseki, let me try and paraphrase him. He said, I have visited the 192 ward in the course of this campaign, and I have discovered that there are no roads. For me, nothing can be more accurate. That the governor did not discover there are no roads across the 192 wards until he went for his re-election campaign. So what was he doing for all of 4 years? He thought that where he didn't construct a road, that the road would be constructed by magic. He also said, he also discovered that there are no lights. So if there was no election, he would know that 80 or 90% of Edo people are in the dark. It shows the degree of neglect and indeed of contempt for our people. On Saturday is not the day to lament, it's the day to make the bold decision that we have to effect a change. Like I mentioned repeatedly in all of the rallies that I attended, I tried to remind the people, and this is the fact, that the beauty of democracy is that the ordinary man and woman, the poor, the rich, the educated, the illiterate, they are the landlords. They own the land. The governor and those in government are the tenants. And the power of the landlord to evict a tenant remains with the landlord. I was once a tenant at Osadebe Avenue. I did the 4-year tenancy agreement, and I asked for renewal on the basis of my records. Now, what are the records of this governor to merit him seeking renewal of his mandate? Is it the fact that, as he confessed, he found that across the 192 wards that most rural communities are not accessible? Is that the reason to take him back? Or that Edo is in the dark? Of course, we talk about MOU, and they generate the 3 figures to mislead the unsuspecting public. But in any case, if in truth there is no light, how many of our countrymen and women are able to watch those things? But I want to remind the people that industrialization does not have to put a drain on government treasury. While I was here as your steward, I called the location of Azura power plant. And I'm proud that that project was completed. It wasn't an excuse not to build airport road. While I was here, the glass factory was established. All the glasses we use in our secondary schools, our primary schools, in the casement windows, are made in Benin. While I was here, we set up the Chinese steel company. We set up the ceramic factory. They are running currently at no cost to government. All that we needed to invest, we invested, namely, provide the land, create access road, and provide security for the both expatriates and local staff to be able to work, with a level of confidence. As governor, I insisted that Opula Cement must return to production, and that whoever purchased it, and the ownership having changed several times, must be ready to make fresh investment in order to bring that factory back to life. By the end of my tenure, Bua Cement has been in production, creating real jobs, real sustainable, well-paid jobs, not only for those working there, but also for drivers. Towards the end of my tenure, Dangote also established and is currently constructing a cement factory. But all of this was at no cost to government. All that is required of government is to create the enabling environment. That is what government means when we talk about the government as an enabler. Creating an enabling environment for private sector investors to invest. They cannot be, we can't use those rhetorics to explain away why our people are in the dark, or why we have no light, why the roads are not built, why erosion control is out of, has been abandoned, etc., etc. So I ask you, all the issues, there have been attempts to divert away issues of development to focusing on my person. That is why I find it necessary to have to make this broadcast today. The issue before the Edo electorate is, did anybody stop Obaseki, Governor Obaseki, that is, from doing any of the things that will improve on the quality of life of our people? I do remember very well Professor Abolaho, a renowned professor. I contracted him along with 5 other professors of education from the University of Benin to conduct interviews to select teachers on merit when we discovered that the process of employment of teachers was being compromised either through political patronage or through corrupt practices. I even declined to use Abu Salih University because I wasn't sure that there would be no influences brought to bear either on the Vice Chancellor or other university lecturers who might be seeking favor one way or the other. Because the University of Benin is not under the control of Edo State government. And by the time I left office, part of the document I handed over to Governor Obaseki was a carefully selected number of teachers who wrote the exam through the model system, and we have about 30,000 of them ready for the governor to employ to ensure that those who are in our schools are trained and qualified teachers. Today, I believe that list is there, but no teacher has been employed. We can go on and on and on. So when I see them using the speech I made, in which I promise in good faith and also believing that somebody who worked with me and we co-share the vision of restoring integrity to public schools, of building standard rules, and all of those things that I spoke to earlier, I had reasons to believe that he will sustain the dream. And when you play back Governor Obaseki's inaugural speech, he did agree that we have laid foundation on which he was going to build. Now, that is a great betrayal. None of those elements have been addressed under Obaseki. And that explains why today people are lamenting. Job creation is not something that is announced by the governor. It is those employed who inform their families that they've gotten new jobs. At this time and at this moment, we need to take the decision to advise the governor to leave by voting him out and bringing in Pastor Osagi Izeyamu and Malam Gani Audu as deputy governor, so that together they can bring in fresh air into the governance of our state, restore peace, rebuild unity across the 3 senatorial districts, do away with primordial settlement, and refocus the people and the state on a common mission of restoring the dignity of this state, so that even our traditional rulers, our paramount royal father, the Oba of Benin, need not worry about the state of its security or threat of violence that has characterized the affairs of the state over the past few months. I trust that God, in His infinite mercy, will guide you aright as you vote wisely for a change of government. Vote for Pastor Izeyamu as governor and Honorable Malam Gani Audu as deputy governor, so that together we can kickstart the wheel of progress and of development of our great state. Thank you so much, and may God bless you. I should go out to vote on Saturday peacefully, without fear of violence, and there will be no violence. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.